Welcome back to the Nerd Paradise Podcast. Now, people, sometimes I have problems. And sometimes I'm totally cool because people know what they're doing. And this is something that can be very, very, very big out in the general public. But something that's very different to consider is how to conduct oneself at a convention. This is what we're going to be talking about here.
Yes. Hello, everybody, to Convention Etiquette 101.
With your hosts... No. With your teachers.
Professor Citizen.
Professor Citizen.
Dr. Spawn.
Professor whatever.
Let's call him Mr. Asian.
No, wait, got a better one. Because we're talking about conventions. Professor Referee.
Cool. Yeah, so there's some basic do's and don'ts in terms of conducting yourself at a convention that usually can apply out in the regular world too, but there are some things that you have to consider especially.
Alright, let's start with the universal rule that Anime North follows and many other conventions follow. Hygiene. We follow the 3-2-1 rule. Simple enough to remember. Okay, 3 nights of sleep, 2 square meals a day, at least shower once for an entire weekend. Okay, so like shower on the Saturday so you're at least fresh for the longest day of the con.
Yeah. It's pretty important that one have good freaking hygiene, especially in an environment where someone's going to be standing around within at least 2 feet of you. You're going to be lined up or sitting down.
Oh, yeah.
And most conventions happen during the summer, so you got the heat to deal with.
Talk about
and you're not
BO
inside
to
the whole time.
max.
Yeah.
The people that violate this, that infuriate me the most, are the people that are staying in the hotel and have access to showers.
Yes. Well, not only that, but honestly, the people that don't follow this are honestly the kind of people that you do want to stay away from.
It sometimes it does translate into unsavory characters as well as stinky people.
Well, not just sometimes. It's the rule. You're very rarely going to walk by an attractive girl in cosplay and say, oh god, she stinks.
That's not true. Because depending on the day and the kind of costume and what time of the day it is, it happens. It happens to the best of us.
But those girls still at least have some kind of deodorant on.
And things tend to fail or wear out because they have to work overtime.
We're talking about the guys that completely disregard said rule.
Yes.
Yeah, just, completely kick that out the door.
Yeah, like they just want to get to the con as fast as possible. They don't care.
Like that one guy that was dressed up as Zangief that one year.
Oh yeah, that was a real pile driver on my nose.
Yeah, we understand. Some cosplays are heavy. Some cosplays are dark clothes. You're going to sweat.
Yeah, there are some people in full-on suits, including
there's also
fursuits,
something
which would
called
be really hot.
Body spray and
Yeah, but there are
deodorant.
I would like to disclaim here that
body spray does not help.
Yeah, body spray is not
worse.
the answer. Used modestly, body spray can be okay.
Unfortunately, very few people understand the word modestly.
Yes. It's usually misused. I don't think I've ever encountered a person that was wearing Axe subtly.
No.
I don't think
but then again, I don't think Axe even thinks of itself as being able to be worn subtly because, honestly, it asks you to spray an X across your body.
That's way too much.
Yeah.
No.
Do the people that design Axe don't understand how strong the smell of it is?
Well, because it's supposed to chop into your sinuses. Yeah, so hygiene.
Hygiene.
Big importance.
Big one. That's where we're starting. Hygiene. Be clean, be considerate of others, and be aware that if you're in cosplay, you're going to sweat, wear some protection.
I mean, hygiene is a pretty big issue for life in general, but it's especially considerate when you're going to be interacting with huge groups of tightly packed people for a whole weekend.
Yeah, I mean, please don't give the fandom a bad name.
If you walk around and you stink and you don't wash yourself, you're going to have a bad time.
It's bad enough, like, that I'm somewhat of a germaphobe, and I know someone in our group is really big germaphobe, but he's not here right now.
This is true.
Yes, Sir Duke.
So that kind of ticks me off and just, puts me off of some stuff. Like, if there is, like, an event and it's really tightly packed, I kind of tend to avoid that, even though as much as I do want to, go into it and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's one reason that I would personally stay away from the rave. There are a couple other reasons, but that's a big one for me.
Other reasons include how late at night it is.
The fact that it's not my kind of scene.
Yeah. The drugs.
Yeah, because it's not the purpose of a rave, but it's an excuse for a lot of people.
Yeah, mostly E. I mean, Anime North tries its best to limit such things, but people sneak it in some way or another. It happens. Honestly, the best staff can do is just make sure nobody has a bad reaction to it.
So yeah, what's next on the list?
Yeah, the thing I want to say is that most people that do go to the rave aren't really there for the con. They're just essentially there for the rave.
Yeah. So yeah, back on the list.
Okay, so we have hygiene, big do.
Check.
Talk about. It's not so much a do or don't. It's a basic courtesy. At convention like Anime North, cosplay is a big thing. So there are going to be a lot of cosplayers walking around. And you might see someone dressed up as a character that you like, and you want to get a picture of this person. So you don't just walk up to them, whatever they're doing, wherever they're going, and just snap their picture. You don't yell at them, "Hey, I want a picture of you." Common courtesy. Ask them. If they're in the middle of talking to somebody, wait for a second. Ask them, "Would you mind if I take a picture of you?" Like, because you're not entitled to do this. It's a privilege.
No offense to you, Harvey, but says the guy that disturbed at least one person that was eating a meal to grab a picture.
She was not eating a meal. She was resting because she had horribly, horribly high heels, which I felt horrible for after as well.
Yeah. Either way, that was kind of not your best moment at the con. Actually, probably your worst moment at the con.
Yeah, and if that's it, that speaks relatively well for me.
Yeah, no, that's why I said no offense. That wasn't as bad as what other people do. But not your best.
So I will concede that.
But
in my defense, it was a really cool cosplay.
But still, the issue is you gotta have
you
the
gotta
common
ask,
courtesy.
be polite, especially if it's a picture you really want. You don't be rude about it. The person put in a lot of effort into the costume. More than likely, they're even slightly uncomfortable in it, like not uncomfortable mentally, but just physically they may be uncomfortable in it. But if it looks good and you want to take a picture, ask them, compliment them, tell them it's a good job, take your picture.
Yeah. And usually, if you're not an actual photographer there to be taking a whole bunch of pictures of the con and getting a lot of people in cosplay, if you're a regular person, you're getting pictures, try not to keep the person there too long. Like, don't stick around for like 5 different angled shots. It's one thing. It usually starts a chain reaction when one person stops to take a picture. Other people will come by and they'll stop to take it as well.
I know that
they will, but at the very least, the person's already doing the picture, so they're less inconvenienced in that way.
Yeah, that's the thing I find. Like, if it depends on what kind of character. If it's going to be really popular, they're going to be stopping a lot. But if they're in a high traffic area and they're stationary, you could wait till there are more people that might want to get their picture and wait, because it's a lot easier for someone to keep holding a pose than to keep getting up and pose for more people over, especially with a lot of like a lot of cosplays that use uncomfortable high heels or that have
heavy clothing on top of them, or just
huge ass weapons, things like that,
or just props that are hanging from any body part that's really, really weighing you down.
Yeah. So be courteous, ask for pictures nicely.
And if for some reason someone tells you no, if they're if maybe they're on their way out somewhere, they're in a hurry,
then respect that decision. And
respect that. Hope to catch them later when it's more convenient, and if you don't,
oh well.
Maybe
or maybe you'll just find somebody else with a similar cosplay.
Yeah. Or worst case scenario, you can look up online later on for other people's pictures they posted of the con. You might be able to find it if you really want to see that again.
Yes. All right. Moving on. One important thing. Please, people, when you're at a convention, especially one that's run mostly by volunteers, respect and listen to the people that have the staff and volunteer badges. Maybe not as much as the volunteers, because honestly, this year most of them sucked. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Most of them really did fuck up this year. But at the very least, do respect the staff.
Should have had them wear red shirts.
We wish. We've tried. We've tried to get the volunteers to wear red shirts. We even there are even red Anime North shirts that exist for that purpose.
Or if they're cosplaying, like, something to make them at least recognize that they're staff.
And the joke went over Mark's head again.
Hey, it happens a lot.
Who dies first in Star Trek, Mark?
The red shirts.
That's the point.
There you go.
But yeah, like the staff puts in a lot of work and does a lot around the con, like running around everywhere, trying to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So please show them respect. Show them that you appreciate what they're doing. Because honestly, for them to be staff, they've been doing this for years.
Yeah, this is a big chaotic event, so do cut the people who are running it some slack.
Yeah. And honestly, if a staff member comes up to you and tells you, don't do this or stop doing that or whatever, listen. Don't just continue doing your stupidity just because they're just staff. They don't have any actual legal authority. Bullshit. Every staff member has the authority to ban a person from the convention and ask them to leave the grounds. You can return, but you're not going to have a badge. You're not going to get your badge back. You're not getting back in anywhere.
You're not getting a refund for the badge. You get...
Basically, when
you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
When you sign that registration form, you're basically signing over that right that you have.
There's no signing of registration.
Is there? No more?
There's no signing as far as I can tell.
I didn't have to... Wait.
When you fill it out, I mean, you put your email and stuff, but there's no actual
Either
signing.
way, you put something on, right? That you agreed to.
Yeah,
Still entering into a contract.
Yeah.
Yes. And in extreme cases, there are times where a staff member can ban a person from the convention for more than just that 1 year. You may think that there's no way for the staff to enforce this. There are ways. Okay? Especially at Anime North, where from now on, it's essentially a pre-order only event.
So you have to put your name through in the system.
So it's going to pop up as, oh, this person's not allowed to come. So please listen to the staff, because they do a lot of work and they try their best.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to people that volunteer. If you are volunteering in Anime North, fucking volunteer and do some work. Okay? You're getting hours here. You're getting to go into the con. Essentially, you're gonna get in for free if you volunteer long enough.
Which is probably what a lot of people focus on when they do this.
So at the very least, do something. Okay? My girlfriend was talking about at the masquerade, the people that were at the doors, they weren't doing squat. What they were doing was essentially standing by the doors playing their DSs.
I'd like to quote my former gym teacher, and what you should do, make yourself useless.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the people there were just not doing anything. People got into the masquerade earlier than they were supposed to. People got in that didn't have the armbands because of these fucking lazy teenagers. And face it, these were teenagers. My girlfriend was the one that had to do door duty when she was the one that's supposed to be in the green room at the time. Okay? If you're going to volunteer, understand that you're going to be put into vital points around the con, more than likely to be checking on badges and other such similar things. So don't get distracted by DSs or other things. Just do your job and make our lives easier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's actually some work involved. You're not just writing this shit for volunteer hours and to get to fuck around at the con. If you want to do whatever the hell you want at the con, within the rules, register and come as a person. You can volunteer. Fucking do what you're supposed to do. It's not that hard.
Alright, moving on from there. More con etiquette. Fuck you.
More con etiquette. Well, there is the whole, keeping sound levels down when operating as a group.
Yeah, but that's true for anywhere, honestly.
Yes, but because it is a fan conglomeration, it is very, very easy for this to come up. And you get people that sit around in a group, and it is a catalyst pretty much anywhere for people to act a little bit outside of their normal capacity. But sometimes the levels of obnoxiousness and the levels of volume, it's just not good. And if you people can hear, I'm audibly... It's not exactly face palming. It's a little too high for that, but I have a receding forehead, so I'm going to keep going with it. And...
if anyone listening has seen the episode of Airbender where Sokka has to deal with the hippies going through the tunnel, that's essentially what Harvey was doing just now.
Yeah, there's that.
There's going to be a big red spot on his forehead.
Yeah, so it's one thing to get a little bit rowdy because it's this whole different atmosphere and it's a lot of fun and you're with your friends and there's all the stuff that you like. But calm your shit.
Yeah, just tone yourself down a lot.
Yeah.
Like instead of 100%, instead of the 100, just go it down to 50 at least.
Yeah, rather than
not
going
even 50. I mean, at least give him some credit. Let's say 60.
Yeah. Don't try to be as loud as all of the background noise. It's anywhere. If someone is 2 feet away from you, don't shout to talk to them.
Just walk up and...
Yeah, it's one thing when walking through a crowd of people trying to get through. That's one thing. When you're standing in line waiting for shit to happen, or if you're sitting in one of the rooms waiting for something to start, or God forbid when it's actually already playing and people are sitting there talking way too loud, it's really annoying. It's not very cool. Gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point, Harvey. Line etiquette.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, lineups are going to be big at any kind of convention, and they're going to get chaotic. So there's 2 things you should at least remember. One, have your badge out somewhere visible so that you're not holding up the line, fumbling around, so for the person doing badge check to find it.
Yeah, not to mention you're supposed to be wearing it somewhere visible. That's the whole point of it, so people
There's
can
a reason
tell.
why there's a pin at the back, first of all.
Oh,
it's a necklace now.
Necklace now?
Yeah.
See, this is... Okay,
Mark needs to be dragged back to Anime North. His next con appearance shall be at Con Bravo. Look forward to seeing him there.
So yeah, either way, it's visible. I mean, they make it in a way that you wear it.
Yeah.
If your cosplay doesn't give you much room around your neck, make it into a bracelet. If that doesn't work, wear it around your belt.
Mm-hmm. Or if you have a bag, put it on the bag.
Yeah, bags allowed.
Yeah, but if at least if it's going to be on your bag, put it on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, on the strap.
Yeah, just less likely for it to be snagged by somebody.
Yeah. Either way, make it visible so you're not slowing down the line. And then secondly, while I understand many people wait in line with their group of friends, that doesn't necessarily mean that you guys can shift around your spots and try and somehow get ahead of others because you're in a group or something.
Yeah.
Once you're in line, stick to what spot you are in line. It's going to get chaotic. It's going to get all over the place. But honestly, whoever's in front of you got there earlier, so don't try and sneak your way up a front.
Yeah.
Okay, you're late. So what? Shit happens.
Mm-hmm. One thing, it doesn't relate necessarily to line etiquette, but it's pretty much anywhere with the convention, is PDA. Now, in regular public, I think people should rein in
Speaking
their
of
PDA.
PDA,
Mm-hmm.
that was a girl in front of us.
Okay, even so, people should have been.
Yeah, even so, but damn the androgynous of that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, I have a funny story from one con. It involves Matt. It's a very funny story.
Let's save that for another time, Mark. That should be saved for the segment where we all talk about embarrassing things we've all been through.
That
so
was just hilarious.
Yes, I know.
So back to my concerns, because I don't have any put up with filters for stuff in public when people are being overly ambitious and overly on display of their public affection. It does not save you that you're at a convention. I don't care if this is the person that you're with for a long time. I don't care if this is your con partner that you just met, that you are with, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. I don't really like walking around and seeing people sitting on the ground making out, or standing in line in the front making out, or It's not always just making out. It's a lot of very overly touchy-feely stuff. It's not really cool in regular public. Even with the given filter of the high school student and the high school phase in a relationship, it's just excessive, and stop it. Keep that shit private or tone it down, you know?
We don't want to see as sucking face, is what we're trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Because, trust me, there are enough colors going around that nobody needs to stand around in a convention puking rainbows.
Yeah, pretty much. Anything else to add to the extensive list we seem to be making?
There's one that we've always talked about over and over again, is appropriateness of the costumes.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is definitely an etiquette thing, but there's also, to a degree, it's also covered by the rules, but it also depends on what context appropriate is supposed to take on. In terms of how much you might be revealing with skin, the con definitely goes with that.
I understand there's some there are some characters that do have some revealing stuff, but they also have different costumes as well. Like, they're not always the same skimpy outfit.
Yeah, speaking of skimpy outfits, we have first experience with somebody that really didn't think things through.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, our friend Miss Lee, who at many times went to the convention wearing something that almost could get herself banned.
Mm-hmm. Things easily defeated by the wind.
Yeah.
Oh, you guess what my job was there whenever that was wind blockage.
We'll save that for a different segment.
Yeah, so there's also the idea of things that are, I suppose, taboo or insensitive and just not cool, which I don't see much of, but every now and then it's in terms of being appropriate. I don't know. There's some things that's done in good fun, like one year I saw a guy dressed as a tentacle monster and he had a blow-up doll with him, which
I don't think that's... I mean...
It's very, very comical, I guess.
It's comical, and that one's borderline okay just because he was using a very cheap blow-up doll.
Yeah.
Which honestly had no features, and she was a Barbie doll that you can blow up. So, yeah. If he was using a more realistic one that came with, like, attachments and stuff, that could have gotten him in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean... There was one guy that came in, like, all he had was just, like, a cloud kind of, like, puffy kind of thing, if you remember.
Well, when we were at Cosplay Chess, this guy sat in front of us, and the costume he was wearing, essentially on the side, was just straps every couple of inches down his leg. And, yeah, there's obviously no underwear on that guy.
I mean...
Please tell me he burned those pants afterwards.
I mean, there is some sort of appropriateness. You need to be more appropriate because there is, like, again, there are children that come to these things.
Yeah. Honestly, to the guy that we saw at the Cosplay Chess wearing that, you could have at least worn a banana hammock. Okay.
And honestly, it probably would have been better anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Maybe you're going for authentic, but there's also hygiene involved there with having your bits and pieces just hanging there. Where if there was where there's a rip in your costume, you would be essentially flashing everyone around.
It's like hanging a sausage up in a sauna.
Okay.
If you shake the room too much, there are going to be problems.
I don't think people need the mental images.
Aww.
So yeah, I mean, I understand there's some characters you want to do to be really authentic, but there's also ways of doing that without looking all like showing too much.
Yeah, one thing you have to consider is there's a difference between doing a really detailed cosplay and going to do a photo shoot rather than going around and walking around at a convention for an entire weekend. If you're going to break away to actually take pictures for something, then you can dress it up or down a little more depending on what you're going for.
And then there's also the fact that there's a difference between people that enjoy cosplay for the sake of dressing up and then being in character, and the girls that dress up just as an excuse to dress up as something slutty.
Yeah, but that's a very common costuming phenomenon.
It is, but you can tell the difference between it. For one thing, one example would be the girl has no idea what she's actually wearing. She just saw a picture online and said, "Ooh, I want to dress like that." I've seen it happen. Or just a girl dressing because it's the skimpiest thing she could think of to wear. It's like those girls at Halloween that just wear stuff to wear skimpy dresses or skimpy costumes. It's the same thing with conventions. There's girls that go there that maybe have some idea of the fandom to something or other, but are mostly going just to dress up as something, well, essentially slutty.
Well, I have no problem with people acknowledging that and being upfront about it, but I also don't like the shaming of it. Because as long as people will own it,
well,
then
yeah,
I don't have a
but
problem.
there's a difference between owning it and doing it just for that reason.
Well,
Like,
if that's what they're doing and they're not breaking the rules about it, I don't care.
Honestly, if you're gonna put in effort, and I'm talking about like the ones that actually make the costume look good, at the very least, put in some knowledge with said effort. That's the thing that protrudes me. That these girls wear it without knowing what's to do with it. That's why, I like the girls that when they wear something skimpy, before they let guys take pictures, they ask, "Do you know where I'm from?" So that they know that the guy's just not some pervert taking a picture of a girl in something skimpy.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I respect the person who has the information and like the knowledge of what she's.
It's the knowledge that I'm looking for, not the.
Well, that's the thing. Just because someone's not asking for it, how can you tell that they don't necessarily know what it's all about?
Because you can see that if somebody else asks them, they can't answer. I've seen that happen.
Okay, in that case, sure.
Yeah, I'm talking about like really specific cases here, not in a broad sense.
I just hope not in a broad sense.
Yeah, now, I'm talking about like specific cases where the person essentially just dresses up, no knowledge, just looked up a picture online and said, "Oh, I'll just wear that."
Is that much better
not
than
knowing the name of the character or where it's from?
I want to see some knowledge behind the effort as well. Like, show me that you're looking good, you're looking sexy, but you also know that there's a reason behind the character looking like that.
I have a similar enough issue with even guys that dress as a really like just popular mainstream character that don't really know much about it anyway.
Yeah, I've got that same issue. Like people who dress up as characters from the big three or Pokemon or something, but they're not really like into it. They're just dressing up because they know everybody will recognize it.
Yeah,
I've got that same issue. It's both sides of both genders here have that same
both sides
thing.
of the coin.
Yeah. Not just with girls, with the guys too, but with the girls there's also the fact that it's usually with the skimpy outfits that they do it. You're not going to see a girl with like wear something like from Claymore, the armor from there, and not knowing that it's from Claymore.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that. You're more likely to see somebody wearing something like Yoko from Gurren Lagann and not knowing anything about the character. Or
Mai from King of Fighters, or
Kasumi,
or even who's the
or Chun-Li from Street Fighter,
Chun-Li, or the nun-looking character from the fighting game
from Blaze Blue.
Is it Blaze Blue, the one that's actually a boy? The one that fights with the yo-yo. Is that Street Fighter?
In that case, I'm not sure. That's
No,
not like
I
a
don't
Street
know.
Fighter.
No, that's King. I think it might be King of Fighters.
Yeah, it is King of Fighters.
Yeah, that character, and the girl dresses up as that because it's like a nun thing at the top. It's a short little thing there, and like doesn't actually know that she's essentially dressing as a boy.
Well, some do.
Some do, but like I've seen where this is actually an actual example of this one. With this, I just forget the character name. People are taking pictures of the girl dressed as that, and some guy says, "You're doing a great picture. You're doing a great cosplay of him." And the girls look at him. What are you talking about him?
Okay.
Like, know what you're dressing up as, especially if you're going to be dressing up as something that lots of people are going to be taking pictures of. Because us nerds kind of want some knowledge behind it, because that's also kind of attracted to us, that a girl is sexy and knows her stuff.
And sometimes a girl that knows her stuff can be very sexy, just straight up like that.
Yeah, if you know your stuff, that bounces your hotness level right up there. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to bash, but bring your A game, is what I'm saying.
So just have the knowledge to what you're dressing as.
Yeah, because if you don't, then people are going to look down on you.
Yeah, because if you're at a convention full of nerds, at one point or another, you're probably going to be asked to check your facts.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's intended that way.
Yeah,
You
so
have to show
and
your
I've
work.
seen I've seen examples where the girl doesn't know anything whatsoever, and essentially just you can see that she's dressing just because it's the first thing she saw on an internet search.
Even not with the girls. I mean, when I cosplayed as some stuff before, I always got stopped. Before they took a picture, they always asked where I was from or anything like that. Like when I was dressed up as Reborn, and they wanted me to do some of the poses from the cartoon, from the anime. So I did it, and I remember it correctly. So when I did it, they said, "Okay, we respect for what you're doing." You know?
Yeah, knowledge is a big thing. Like, go for it, do the costume, but look up the facts. The internet's there for a reason, people.
That's one thing I've found, that people usually believe that you know what you're doing if you dress from something that's a little more obscure.
Yeah.
For my example, I think to a small degree I've kind of become infamous at Anime North as the Claude guy, because I dress as one of the main characters from Star Ocean 2, which doesn't see a whole lot of love at the con, but when fans do see, it usually kind of makes their day if they haven't seen me before. It's been pretty cool in the past. It's
Which
nice
is
to
why
light up people's day like that.
It's going to be hard for me to Mr. Referee costume to a key.
Yeah. But you can still pull it off.
Oh yeah, I think Mark could definitely do it.
So any other things you want to mention?
Well, it's not exactly etiquette, but it should also be approached like that, is before you come, be aware of the rules.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Every time you get a book from a convention, any kind of convention, somewhere after the table of contents, after the staff list, there's a rule list.
You don't even have to wait for that, because especially people pre-registering.
Yeah, or checking them out online.
Yeah, they email you the information, and even in the smaller condensed emails, they will go over some of the rules. Be aware of these things, like things you can bring, like different cosplay props. If it's metal, it's probably not allowed. If it's anything that's an actual weapon or a close enough replica of certain kinds of illegal weapons, it's not allowed. Don't bother bringing it, because it's going to get confiscated, or it's going to be set aside till you can take it away sometime later.
Yeah, or in even extreme cases, it will be handed over to the police.
Yeah. And you don't want that.
No, especially if this is your own property. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of rules to follow, and they're easy enough to get a hold of to read. Just take a look, especially if you're a first timer to convention and you don't know what's going on. Take a look at the rules so that you don't do something stupid. Because we got enough stupid in the world. Okay? You good? Because I don't want to have to bring my rod of correction in. My teaching stick.
50 whacks with a wet noodle.
If it's bigger than your thumb.
Bitch, please. I'm going to use a 2x4.
Or Harvey could just fashion a giant mallet and just call, just have a little B-A-N and at the end and just,
Yeah, if I'm going to do a band hammer, I'm going to
You need some power.
Yeah, I'm going to grab a construction mallet.
I was at Home Depot and they sell the handles without heads for hammers and axes.
He's actually thinking of it now.
I actually thought of making a sledge before, but that's for different cosplay purposes or just shits and giggles because it's related to something I like. But you could easily make one. Just make a fake head for it. In fact, there's something I considered making from the game Munchkin. I think it's the mace of stabbing or something. It's a mace with a dagger tied onto it, which I could pretty easily do with that when I think about it. So
yes.
That would be cool.
But yeah, so I think we've gone over some basic things, some personal experiences. So
wait till I get to my stories next time. I got a lot of them.
Yes, go fuck yourself.
He's excited. He's rueful. I'm just sitting in the middle giggling a little bit.
That's our life, folks.
Samson.
Anyways, what have we learned this week?
What have you learned, Mark?
I will never get. I will never get My Little Pony, but I will respect people who do watch it.
Mm-hmm. It is a thing that takes time to understand properly, I imagine. So I'm not gonna try to run ahead of the race. And I have learned that even someone of a very accepting community can also, in their personal life, be very full of vengeance and wrath.
Yes, but it's the community that has kept me from acting on said vengeance and wrath. Because if that show hadn't come along...
I forgot also vindictiveness.
There's that.
Yes. Well, I have learned that... Well, no, I haven't learned. I already knew. The Air Princess Celestia, I already knew this. Sony sucks. Gears of War's being completely beaten like a dead horse. Halo 4's coming out, and I'm looking forward to it.
Again, this message brought to you by Kenterlot Adhesives.
And of course, Nintendo's doing what Nintendo always does, and that's bringing in classic games that we can look forward to playing.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Sony, listen very carefully to what I'm about to say, because I'm only going to say this once. I have a very select set of skills with me, and I shall use those skills to hunt you down. So if you don't want me to use them, I suggest you comply to my demands and get your hands out of Pottermore, give them to somebody competent, and stay away from Harry.
I'd like to announce right now, the views of Matt Spawn of Hell did not reflect the rest of the podcast. So please do not sue, just go after him.
Guess what, folks? I got nothing, so go ahead. I dare ya.
Yes, come at him, but not us.
Alright, so I believe that wraps things up. We all learned something. We've all had our chance to talk about things that interest us, that concern us, that make us rage.
Mm-hmm. There's been plenty of rage around.
Yes. So we'll see what happens next week if Mark starts raging.
I wonder what I will be raging at.
Yeah. Maybe the movie we plan to review, Prometheus.
If anything, I'll just start taking the camera into... If it's that crappy, I'll probably take the camera with me to the toilet and probably just shit on it, just... Fuck you!
Let's clarify there. Mark will figuratively shit on the movie. We at the Nerd Paradise Podcast do not condone the act of defecating on one's electronic devices.
Nor do we condone or accept anything related to scat porn. Whatever Mark may be into, we accept you for who you are, Mark. But please do not try and force us into liking it. You're little kinks.
I'll go monkey style on your ass.
God damn, don't do it in my bathroom. Well,
anyways, that wraps up this edition.
You'll hear from us next week, folks, and stay out of the tall grass.